Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Brianna and I go by my skate name here on my channel, Simon Slays. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to each and every single one of you who have subscribed to my channel and who have supported me. I do what I do for you. It's what I'm passionate about, helping skaters learn how to skate, improve, and pass on what I know. Let's get into the tutorial on how to plow stop. So some of the pros to doing a plow stop is that they don't wear out your toe stops. Plow stops will slow you down and help you to stop on target. When should I use a plow stop? If you are just needing to slow down or stop, plows are great. And if you're trying to slow down or stop at a certain point, I would definitely recommend using a plow because you can start stopping further out and stop perfectly on point and on target if you have a target in mind. If you're going down a slight decline or a small hill, you can use a plow stop to slow down and oftentimes even stop. It just depends on how much of a decline we are talking about. I would recommend using a plow stop if you have a lot of space around you to stop. If you're in a really crowded space and there's not a lot of room, it may not be advantageous or the best idea to use a plow stop, and you may want to try a different stop. Just because if you're crowded, you will need to spread out your legs. You kind of go out and then in to do a plow stop, and you can do them small, but you do need a little bit of space around you to be able to do a plow stop. Even if you're doing a single leg plow stop, you still need that space in front of you. If there's not a lot of space in front of you or around you, maybe use a different type of stop on skates. Other stops on roller skates includes a hockey stop, a turnaround toe stop, a single foot plow, a T-push, a T-stop, and of course the one we're doing in this tutorial, which is a plow stop. I will say before we get into this that it's really important to have the right type of wheels on whatever surface that you're skating on when you're trying to do any kind of stop. And depending on the hardness or the softness of your wheels, it can change how you slow down or stop and how your wheels work against or with the surface. So just be careful that you are using the right wheels, that you understand. There are charts out there. I think I put one on my blog and I'll link it below, but basically there's charts out there that, oh yeah, look at one of those charts, see what hardness your wheels are, look it up, and then see if the surface that you're skating on is a good match for that type of wheel. And if not, you may want to look into getting some other wheels. I'll link my favorite outdoor roller skating wheels that I used in this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. Just be sure that you look that up because if you're having troubles doing this stop, it may not be your fault. It may not be your approach. You may be doing all the steps right. It may actually be you have the wrong wheels or the wheels don't match the surface that you're skating and trying this skill on. So be sure that you check that out. It's super important. That's just a tip to start you off with before we even get into doing the plow stops. Make sure you have the right wheels on your skates. Let's get into the tutorial on how to plow stop. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to roll forward, facing forward. You want to keep your knees bent and flexible, looking up and with your body balanced and aligned. You're going to widen your stance with both legs. Point your toes out in kind of a circle motion. So your toes are going out and making a bubble. If you've ever done the bubbles drill, you know what I'm talking about. So your toes are going to point out and then they're going to point quickly in like a point towards each other, making a plow in front of you. You're going to push in with the outside edges of your wheels, pointing your knees in and your ankles out in front. Your feet will be in front of you, your knees will be in front of you, and then your hips will be underneath you. And your knees should kind of be together just like your toes are together with your ankles out. So your ankles are really out and making that circle. You'll know you're doing this right if you're feeling it in your outer and upper thigh muscles. So you want to use your quads, really engage those to push your feet into a plow. And even though your feet are stopping in front of you and kind of doing this carve and push in front of you with your feet on your outside edges, your feet are in front and your quads are kind of holding them there in front of you, but you're also kind of squatting into it to hold that momentum and leaning forward into it. You will start getting a feel for this the more you do these plows, and you'll be able to feel how your weight is distributed throughout as you push into the plow. Last thing I want to say about plows is your momentum is really going forward into it and down. So just think of it that way when you're doing a plow. I'll cover 1 foot plows. So for 1 foot plows, basically you're going to bring one side of your body in front and you're just doing one side is doing the plow. So the other leg stays right where it's at. It does not move. So you want your toes and your knees and your hip on whatever side is on the inside of the plow stop to stay. You're gonna squat down and then you're gonna bring your outside leg around in that same arc, point out, do the half circle, and point your toe in, and then push your edges into it and push down using your outer thigh. And then the same thing with the other side, your inside leg stays and you use it as an anchor and you squat down into it, and then you curve your other leg out around in front, and your skate should literally be horizontal in front of you, just like a T-stop. You're rolling your wheels, but your wheels stay touching the ground the whole time. So you literally just roll your toes forward in front of you, you do the little arc, and you're pushing kind of out and down as you're doing that and really plowing into it. I've got a whole list here of tips for plows, so I'm gonna go through these real quick for you. One of the best ways that you can build this skill is to do the drills that I've shown you in my other videos with tips for how to improve. Well, I'm gonna link the video here that I show how to do bubbles, and you can watch that, and that's gonna help you build up to learning these. Another tip that I would recommend is start off just by rolling slow. You do not have to go full speed. You do not have to go way super back and skate at it and then stop. You can work up to that and literally just roll forward very slowly and go into the plow. But eventually you want to work up to where you're actually stopping your momentum and practicing a actual full stop. So the faster you're going, the wider you want your feet apart and the lower you want your body to the ground when you're stopping. If you're just going at a moderate pace, you can just do the little circle and you'll stop. And if you're not going as fast, you can take more time to stop and kind of roll into the plow. So you can just try this rolling like I am right now and then plow with a little speed. You should feel the burn in your outer thighs as you're doing this, in your quads. You will feel it as you push your legs into that plow. I think it's about 20 to 30 in, I start feeling a little bit of that burn. So yeah, if you feel that you're doing it right, practicing, you're gonna get those. Point your toes around in an arc on each side and then sit and squat into it, like on the highest part out. That's when you start turning your toes in. And that's when you start off with your skates in normal stance, and then you point your toes out to do that kind of half circle on each side and do that arc. And midway through that, you're gonna start pointing your toes in and really push your quads and your knees and your feet in, with your feet being out in front of you. So that's really important, and you'll feel this, and you really want to sit into it or squat into it. You really want to push your momentum forward into your quads and forward, and that's going to stop you. It's really your feet going into a plow in front of you that stop you, but it's also supported. You really push into it with your quads and your knees going in as well. If you have a lot of speed going into your plow stop, you can start wide and then slow down until you stop. So you can take more time to actually do the plow the wider that you started. I am a tall skater. I am almost 6 foot tall, and with my skates on, I'm like 6'5". My leg length is really long, and so how I skate and my style of skating is influenced by my body type, my height, and just my overall comfort zone of what feels good for me as a skater. So I'm gonna tell you how I look doing this is gonna look different from someone else. How the plow works for me with my body may look different from another skater. Well, our form may be a tiny bit different, but if we're doing the stop correctly, it's just at a different level or maybe a different width. Overall, like mechanics and steps of it are the same, but if you're standing up more, if you're super low, if you're super wide, or if you're more narrow, how far in front your feet are and where your knees come together, that all depends on you. And I would definitely recommend to practice at different speeds, practice at different widths, at different standing heights, practice sitting down into it or squatting into it, and also practice with the 1 foot plow, putting 1 foot forward and then the other foot forward, and practice with both feet and see which one you like. Your height as a skater can affect what feels right for you. That's why I would give you the tip to practice the plow different ways and kind of see what works for you. And you can speed it up as you get into it. And I think that speed really pushes you into it. And the more speed you have, the more you're gonna feel this in your body when you do the plow. My next tip is to really feel the curve on your outside edges when you're doing this plow. So as you're pointing your toes in, really feel the curve as you push into those outside edges of your wheels. This is really gonna help you do a nice plow. You're really pushing the momentum on the outside of your skates as you're pushing forward and you're plowing down into it. So yeah, just thinking mentally as you're doing the plow that you're pushing into those edges as you kind of skid forward. After you've done that quick plow and you point your toes in, you're gonna really feel that outside edges and the burn in the outside of your thighs. So as you're doing the plow stop, just make sure that you're really pushing into that, especially if you've got a lot of speed going. You want to kind of push into that, and your wheels will probably just skid across whatever surface that you're on. That's very typical with when doing a plow with some speed. Also, I want to make sure that I let you know that your knees do go in and they do point in. Your knees should not be pointing out when you're doing this at all. Your knees point in. It's almost like a goofy dance move. So yeah, make sure that your knees are pointing in. When I do a 2-leg plow stop, my legs are almost touching with my knees, depending on my speed and how low I get into it. And another little tip that I would really highly recommend is to pick a spot to stop on. You can kind of train yourself on when you need to plow and have a target that way so you can stop on demand right where you want to. This is something that I did that taught me how to plow, so I highly recommend trying that. Just pick a spot and try to stop at that point. Hopefully this all made sense to you. If you have any questions or you would like any more drills to help you learn how to plow stop, I'm happy to do that. Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and you found that it was informative and it helped you, please share it with a friend, help someone else out so they can learn this as well. Like this video to let me know that you appreciated it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I'm so sweaty. A whole bunch of